Hey, Kyle, can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
All right, or can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, now I can hear you.
There we go. What is it coming in? Wait, probably too loud or something.
All right,
Deafening everyone. All right, well, there's no one in the waiting room, so we could just get going here. So really, since a lot of what happened yesterday was dealt with and handled, we didn't get that many questions. So we'll let everyone here in the chat ask questions, and we can circle back to them. But the ones that we did get, me and Jude will go through them now. So the first one is, how much cash did the company raise pre-sale, and minus the refunds?
All right, so first I need to go to check again all the numbers, but basically last time that I checked, it was around 13 million. But we also returned some money for those that didn't agree with whatever other people vote, right? So there was a voting, people want to get more people in, increase the supply. And all those that didn't agree with that voting, which is, from my perspective, I think it's wrong. I think if you play ball on DeFi and you say DAO, you cannot say I'm not part of the game once everybody agree about something and it's not fit for your beliefs, right? It's a cryptocurrency game, and either you're with everybody or you're not. There is no between. But that being said, we allow people back then, if you remember, there was a few weeks that say anyone that wants his money back, no question asked, just go ahead and basically tell us, and we found to investors that didn't agree. I didn't want to be in position that people get panic because of the market, but all those that didn't agree because of the voting, straightforward voting, right? We didn't, obviously I want to ask them to come to kind of a call with me and ask a question and try to see what is it that they recommend and stuff like that, but they immediately been refunded. I will say if we raise around $30 million for both projects, I need to double check all the numbers again because there was a lot of funding that received not as a USD. So I will need to go and do all the calculation. And then minus all the funding that we return. But I will say those are the rough numbers.
Okay. So then with out of that minus the refunds, the remaining allocation, how are the funds going to be allocated? How are they currently allocated? And there was a separate question that said how much is allocated specifically to the PDO. So also include how much is going to the PDO.
So yeah, so that's a good question because I think company do not need much money in order to work, right? We don't have billion employees that we need to take care of them. So I don't understand why company usually raised, $150 million, if you remember the days of the ICOs. There is nothing to do with this money when it's come to operational. And beside that, most of our people that work in our company, most of them prefer to get less cash and more basically tokens and equity in the company. So we're very lean when it comes to expenses. That being said, because we built something called PDO, which is going to be very exciting to see how it's going to play, I will see that I think is in our interest to feed the PDO even by ourselves, not just the public that will come and feed the PDO when they will investing. I think we will need to take a lot of money from what we have and feed the PDO because eventually it's benefiting the liquidity, it's benefiting the value of the token, and it's causing even more appreciation for the entire project. So I don't think, I do have, by the way, if you remember, Kyle, me and you talked yesterday, I do have a concern about what's going on today in the market with all the bot. When you put big amount in pools, and the PDO is a pool, by the way, if you put big amount in a pool and the bot realize that, I don't know how it works. I mean, everybody build a bot differently, but if I will build a bot, probably I will not ask him to invest into a pool that there is no money there. I will probably say if the pool been start with at least, and I will say amount, then buy immediately into that pool. So what I'm thinking is that the bot do not buy blindly any pool that been created. I think that targeting pools with money in it, which means if you start a pool with a lot of money, they may immediately buy into it. And once it's increased value, they will dump on everybody else. Now, you remember that I told you, and I told to everybody, that the PDO, for at least for the first 90 days, nobody going to have tokens, right? I mean, I don't have tokens, you don't have tokens. All the people that will buy into the PDO, they will have 90 days staking. Those that will be pre-sale and public sale, they will have at least 90 days. So there is still a risk. Where is the risk that I see? A risk I see, and I will be transparent because we cannot hide risk, right? The risk I see is that if we open Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and PDO, a bot can buy from Uniswap or PancakeSwap, and then he will wait for the PDO to increase value, especially if we will inject money into it. And then he will dump the token that he bought from the Uniswap or PancakeSwap, right? And that will be like a rack pooling, right? It will be like on all of us. It will be stealing our money, right? So I'm still scratching my head to think how I'm going to deal with both, because PDO we can control, right? PDO bot cannot come to the PDO. It will have a staking. After the staking is go to dumper shield, so bot cannot play on the PDO. But PDO is a pool like Uniswap, right? So bot can go to Uniswap, buy from Uniswap, and dump into the pool of the PDO. So we still need to figure out at this point to think how we're going to do what we're going to do. We did had a call with Ferrum day before yesterday. No, yesterday actually. I had a call with Ian from Ferrum, and he's recommend that we will add to our token, to the smart token or the Degen token, or any other token that we will want to do PDO with, that we will add a whitelist component. So once we will open a pool on Uniswap, and they only can support Uniswap. They cannot support PancakeSwap, so it's another issue. But they say once you open a pool in Uniswap, they build some kind of a technology, even though it's not fully automated or fully decentralized. It's kind of half decentralized. They built a technology that's designed to target who buying from your pool very fast, very earlier, and then the blocking him like a blacklist, right? The blocking him using the whitelist blacklist from selling those tokens. So they try to target those bots that destroying everybody else's businesses, and they try to stop them from doing it. I right now, we've been so busy with development and everything that I've been even forgot to think about every angle. I mean, that angle of both we seriously need to solve before we inject in millions of dollars to the PDO to Uniswap, and it will be taken by some happy guy that that know what he's doing.
All right. So we'll go on to the next one. So then Degen, we're kind of transitioning now to splitting up, Smart from Degen. Was Degen oversold as itself, and will it need an expanded supply if it wasn't oversold from the
Degen
initial
oversold
3.5?
as well because most of the investors invest in both. Obviously, there was a favorite to the SmartSwap. It's clear, everybody can see it. But a lot of investors invest in both. It's not 50-50. There was 80-20, 70-30, right? There was some kind of a combination. We will increase both of them, but the idea of increasing is that whatever supply is that not being sold, we will burn, right? There is no need to keep supply. We don't have reserves with supply. So whatever is left over, we will burn it.
Perfect. Okay. So then when we're looking at the common user, and I know how we kind of break this up, but for let's break this question up, and whoever asked this, I'm going to change a little bit here. But which product do you see as more useful to common users, like real new to crypto users? And then which product will be a favorite of DeFi users between Smart and Degen?
Wow, it's like to ask me, do you think should I, buy ETH or buy BNB? Which one you think is better network? I think there is no such kind of thing. I think each project is serving different needs, and by the way, BNB and Ethereum is the same network anyway. But the idea back to which project is doing what, I mean, think about Degen. Degen is basically an umbrella, like aggregator to aggregators, right? I mean, instead of me go to 1inch or go to all other aggregator in the market or those that will be in the market, I'll have one place to go to, and I can get the best price among all of them. Now, not only that I get the best price among almost all of them, they're the one that's actually executing the order. So it's exactly like I go to 1inch, right? There is no different. And that being said, and it's even benefit 1inch. We're not competing with 1inch or other players, right? We are bring to them traffic, but we're doing it from a door or from one-stop shop that users do not need to go between all of them and do some researches. That being said, if I'm a user that want to swap with AMM, it's clear that it's better to take aggregator, and it's clear that it's better to take Degen because Degen is umbrella of all those aggregator that represent all the AMM, right? And then there is also reimbursement for the gas and the fees. So if I go to Degen, I get reimbursement for the gas and the fees. If I go to 1inch, I don't get reimbursement, right? And also there is a cross chain. If I will go to Degen and I want to move between multiply chain, I can do it by one click because the SmartSwap is behind that, right? If I will go to Degen, I need to go to Degen on Binance, and then I need to go to Degen on Ethereum, and I need to find a place to bridge between the token because they don't have a bridge, right? So the Degen is just removing more work, right? It's kind of removing the work for you. It's basically nothing. It's like, how can I say it? It's like, are you familiar with the company called Rakuten, right? So
Yeah.
Rakuten is a company that a lot of people have in their computer. Every time you go to buy something, they pop up, they say to you, hey, I see that you're going to buy it. Do you want to click over here, get $2 back or 1% back or 2.5% back? They didn't do any marketing and say, do you want to buy something? No, they say to you, I see that you're about to buy something. Do you want to click over here and get reimbursement for 2.5%, right? So every time I'm going to buy something and the pop-up, this pop-up, it's not a brainer. I'm about to buy anyway. Why not to utilize their 2.5% and by the end of the year to enjoy a few $1,000s back or whatever? Why not? I mean, it's money on the table. Why not to pick it up? And that's the idea of Degen, right? Now, that being said, Degen is going to be fantastic for in centralized exchanges. And I will tell you why, because centralized exchanges is like a casino, right? They don't want you to leave. They want you to stay, and if possible, stay forever. Do you want food? Do you want massage? Do you want entertainment? Whatever you want, they will bring to you, right? So now there is a situation that they don't know how to deal with. People leave to play with some DeFi here and there, they cash out and they go to someplace else to play ball. If you will have Degen inside of centralized exchange, and obviously every product that we have is a license free, you can call it whatever you want, you can change the design, you can put your color, but it's the same technology behind it, and there is no cost. So you can have Degen with your own brand inside of your exchange, and users don't even need to integrate their wallet. They can, from inside the exchange, they can swap and play with DeFi. And as an exchange, you can even charge them fees, right? You can charge them fees and reimburse them with your own native token. And by doing it like that, you're basically removing the need for the user to move money out of the exchange. You bring the DeFi to them instead of they go to DeFi. And I think it's very added value for us as a company to solve problem, but also to solve it in a way that we give it to other players like centralized exchanges and wallet and many others, and they can utilize it. It helps them, right? And we already know that there is exchanges that want license for Degen and license for SmartSwap. And once other exchange will see that it's benefit the exchange, right? There is no reason why not to pick it up. I think I saw some exchanges that instead of bringing the entire DeFi to their home, they try to build a DeFi by themselves, right? To build an exchange, to build a pool. Now, it's all the time remind me how big company, Google, Facebook, when they see someone building something and they try to build it, it's all the time doesn't work. I mean, Google tried to build Facebook. I still remember Google Plus. What do you think? Because you're big and you Google, that's it? You're doing Google Plus, and up you go. Everybody will dump Facebook, which is focusing on social media, on social media, and will come to be Google Plus. No, I mean, even today, that Facebook tried to copy Instagram, they couldn't, so they go and bought it. They try now to copy TikTok, and it's not really working well, right? So I don't think any exchange out there, centralized exchange, can go and just duplicate Uniswap and up you go, you bigger than Uniswap just because you exchange. No, I think to have all the DeFi, all the MM, including Uniswap, inside of your exchange, and you charge a fee on top of that, right? I think that's a winner, because think about it. People using PayPal. PayPal is not a bank, it's a layer on top of the bank, right? And they're willing to pay more fees. Why? Because it's convenient. By one click, you can move money from your bank to email or cell phone without logging to the bank, without all the process, without all the many clicks. People are willing to pay more if a centralized exchange will have a tool that by one click it will allow you to swap with all the MM in the world, especially if you reimburse them, by the way, for that cost, right? So that's why I think it's going to be a home run for Degen. A lot of exchanges, and you only need few exchanges. I mean, we already have one for sure that taking it with 3 million users, right? So 2, 3, 4 and more exchanges that will take it too. Immediately, Degen will have tens of millions of users, right? That play with that. It's a lot. I mean, people building AMM, raising millions of dollars, copycat of Uniswap, right? Raising millions of dollars, and they don't reach to millions of users, right? And here Degen immediately will have millions over millions because we don't try to build traffic. We try to give it away to those that already have one.
So, and that kind of leads very well into the next question, because just how centralized exchanges kind of gain instant access to the DeFi world, kind of when we've talked to different blockchains, one thing that's very interesting is by us integrating more blockchains into SmartSwap and Degen, we actually open up, it's like the casino strategy. Instead of people leaving your blockchain to a wrap token, you can deal with the actual token. So the question that was asked is, do we have a specific date on the inclusion of Bitcoin, and after Bitcoin, or what other blockchains will come, and
Okay.
We have a timeline?
So let's talk about it. I hate dates. I hate dates. Why I hate dates? Because I know myself. I know that in one side, I don't like to promise something that I cannot deliver. On the other side, I don't want to go to the market with something that is not ready and God forbidden it even open to some hacker to steal the money, right? So if I will see that it's not ready, I will change the date. I will not say, hey, I promise you next week, this Monday, we're going live. No, if there is an auditing issue or something that is risky, I need to put a balance. What is more important? So that's why I hate dates, right? I can give all the time estimation, right? Give and take if it's important, but and I know how Vitalik look like. I know. People talked about Vitalik. Hey, he say next year is going to be ready. This month is going to be ready. After next month is going to be ready. And you keep pushing at the 2.0, and it's look like what's going on? Is he ever going to launch 2.0? And I understand him from that perspective, because if he will launch 2.0, which is a garbage, because they didn't really build something good, say bye-bye to Ethereum. That's it. It's a game over for Ethereum, right? If they will build something that it's really working better than everybody else, it will become to be the king of that kingdom. Right now, he's losing the kingdom, but he will be able to take over completely the entire kingdom again. So with our company, we're building stuff that they're not copycat. We do not copy code. We do not forking stuff from others and then just changing the logo. We don't even hiding behind cartoon. I know that there is a lot of people that building stuff, most of them copycat stuff, and they're hiding behind cartoon. And you just educated me that recently someone raised $25 million, and then he put on the website finger and told everybody, nice to have your money, bye-bye, right? Who's the person? How are you going and knock on his door? So I don't believe in cartoon. I think whoever running the project need to be the face of the project, for better or good, by the way, for better or good, for worse and good, right? And I think you should not say we will be next Monday or on the 20th of May if you're thinking that it will not make it because something is not ready. Now, there is something that is very interesting about community. You should not say to people, I think we will be ready next month, maybe, or next week, maybe, because they forget to hear the maybe. Right?
Exactly.
They're here the next month or next week, and then they're coming back and say, hey, you promised, right? So for example, if you will not deliver once or twice because you're really doing stuff that is important, they will think that maybe something wrong, right? But give money to cartoon that nobody knows who he is, and then he disappears, they don't think he's wrong, right? so something is very weird here, right? People give money to cartoon people, and the thing is fine. But when you have serious companies, serious people that try to say, hey, we're delaying because something is not yet finished and we're still testing it, they think it's wrong, right? So, and that being said, I have to say that even when I will be #1 influencer in the blockchain industry, I think people will still come and say, "Hey, you promised that," even if though I maybe didn't promise, right? I'm not say promising. I all the time give an estimation of when we go in live or what we're doing in order to take it to the life to be live. But when I put all on balance, what is more important? I all the time will favor it to push the date. For example, if something is not ready, right? It's important to protect the project. It's important to make sure that the project is good. So for example, with SmartSwap, last month, we want to open it. Then we decide to add the dumper shield. So we delay it. Now it's been open and we're testing it. People using it. We didn't ask people yet to notify the entire world. We want to keep it quietly, only for our own community. And I ask people to give me feedback. So far, we don't find any issues, which is a good sign, right? It's a good sign that people using it and they've been able even to swap, even though there is not a lot of peer-to-peer player, right? And it's a good sign that there is no issue and a lot of stuff working very smoothly. But we still need to add more stuff. So for example, if I will give the license for MXC tomorrow morning, it will collapse because they will have a lot of user instantly. So we need to upgrade the Oracle to deal with many, many users at the same time. It's like you go live and I don't know, Kardashian says something over their social media and your website go down, right? Because too many it's been floated. So we need to make sure that we can support many users. Right now,
So yeah, I was wondering if it was me who froze or Jude froze. It looks like Jude froze there. All right, we got him back with Bay Area background now. Hey, what's
Yeah,
going on?
my computer for some reason shut down. I have so many stuff open at the same time, but I dialed from my cell phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right.
Perfect.
Right, good.
So we lost you when you were starting to go into the dumper shield and about dates. So let's actually go into specifics on the dumper shield because we have a
so just
question for it.
we are
Okay,
very
cool.
close. Right now, the SmartSwap is basically ready, people swapping it, but we still have few stuff to complete before we can take mass adoption, right? It's important. I don't want to launch a project to the public and everybody will come in and it will not support so many users at the same time because we didn't prepare to mass adoption. So we need to prepare to mass adoption. It's not a big deal, but we just need to upgrade few stuff in order to support massive user at the same time. And then right now the SmartSwap have peer-to-peer, but we are going to integrate in the next few days. We're going to integrate the swap providers. Those that doesn't know what is swap provider, the SmartSwap have two capability. Either you swap between user to user, which is the default one because it's decentralized swap, or you have the ability, like in Uniswap, that they have liquidity provider. We have a swap provider. People can go to their, at first it's going to be Binance, but later on it can be any centralized exchange, or Orion, for example, which is order book for all those centralized exchanges. And you can drive basically liquidity from your centralized exchange to the SmartSwap. So that's something that is completely complex. It's a lot of moving parts. It's not just something, one contract. There is a lot of contract going on over there. And everything has to be decentralized, even though you're driving money from centralized exchange. So everything has to be decentralized. So we're about to test it very soon in the next few days. And if it's working, we'll give it to the community to maybe to become to be swap providers as well first, to see how they're going to do or what they're going to do, to see that it's working for them. And if everything is cool and there is no big errors I have all the time. There is no technology without errors, but at least not big one, right? So as long as there is no big errors, then next thing I think we will give a license to, I think we have a few people on the line that already signed up to have a license. So we'll pick up those that are not big yet, right? Kind of small, medium. We'll let them to expose that to their community. And again, if there is no any crash or any problem, then we'll start to give it to exchanges, which is millions of users, right? So all I'm saying is that I know people doesn't have a passion and they want to flip their money and overnight to do 1000x. But good stuff takes time, right? So there is no really good technology out there that's been created overnight, right? You may see Uniswap, but Uniswap in the game since 2017, right? He had all the time in the world to check and upgrade and fix stuff as it go. So here we need to make sure that we're doing it well. We can give estimate time when stuff going to be, but I will always going to say if there is any issue that we found, we'll have to fix it. There is no game about professionality, right? Professionality about it.
Right. I mean, that's a good answer. You basically, don't just pick a date and launch on that date with something that's not ready to stop the people with the weak hands who just want to flip the token anyway. So we actually had an answer to another question in there.
Yeah. I want to say another. I think our community that have the privilege to help us, right, on the ground floor, to be part of this experience, to check if it's going well, what is not going well, to report us where they see an issue. I think they are not a user. If you want a user to be a user, you need to come later on, right? Right now, everybody that in this call or everybody that in our channels, they are not users. They are basically like early investor in the company that want to help the company to figure out what's the need of the market, what's not working, what can be issue. So they are part of our sandbox, right? So they should not act as a user and say, hey, your company, you promised me to go live tomorrow and I will do 1000x, right? No, they should challenge and check what's not working and tell us, hey, fix that, fix that. They should be part of this company by helping us and understand that if the product needs another shift or another fix, that's understandable. That's what they're here for, right?
All right. So that's solid. And then we also had another answer in there about has anyone, a partner, integrated Smart or Degen yet? The answer was no. They were working towards it, and we'll start with a decentralized partner, and then we'll ramp up to someone like MXC. And then the last question, because I'm going to skip the when Lambo. A bunch of you guys sent in when Lambo or some Yoda quotes, so I'm just going to skip those ones. And we'll do, so can you share more specifics on how the dumper shield is going to work? Is it kind of on a first come, first serve basis? And then also for the OTC, is there any way that there's going to be an ability for people to buy up the OTC orders in bulk, or how are they going to, is there an OTC marketplace or what's going to go on with OTC behind the dumper shield?
Okay, so let's talk about it. What's the dumper shield, right? So the dumper shield basically, it's a new technology, again, very heavy one. We just built it recently in the last few years for different projects. So we had to do some kind of adjustments in order to bring it to be ready for the SmartSwap. So if we had to build it from scratch, probably it will be ready 6 months, right? But since we already had all the technology, it was very easy, like less than a month to do all the adjustment and integration. So what is the dumper shield? The dumper shield is designed to give a freedom for investor to do whatever you want, to sell whenever you want, to make as much as money as you like. Today, in many projects, I don't think they're working well. I think projects sometimes preferred investor A over investor B, give to investor A less allocation than investor B, give to investor B preferred access to liquidity over investor A. And I think first it's illegal. In the United States, you cannot do discrimination. You cannot say to investor A, hey, I will give you more access to liquidity over Joe Schmo. I think you will see class action lawsuit coming in when the winter will come, and people will say, hey, I didn't get with liquidity because you give to somebody else faster access to the liquidity before me, and there's no liquidity left for me, right? Why did you do that? So with our project, there is no discrimination. Pre-sale, public sale have the same terms. Everybody basically will engage or will be open on the same time. And when it's come to the dumper shield, the idea of the dumper shield is that I don't want investors that trust the company and give the seed money. I don't want them to be the one that have vesting. I don't think it's fair for investor to have vesting schmesting. I think, and by the way, if you think about it, even if you have vesting and you have a cliff 10%, we saw again and again and again that only the 10% alone is enough in order to take the entire project underwater, right? Sometimes projects dive in. I mean, I see Alice, which is a project that's been launched 2 months ago. Everybody investing in the ground floor as a pre-sale, they made tons of money. But once it reached to the public and been sold as a $60, then after that, it crashed to 10, 8, 9 $, which means somebody lost a lot of money. The public, not the pre-sale, not the VC, the heavy VC. The public, the poor public is the one that paid the bill. So I don't think that investors should have a vesting, but I don't think the public should suffer and pay the bill. I think you should not be in position that you should sacrifice one in order to satisfy the other. I think it should be some balance in somewhere between those two. And that's why the dumper shield being created. The dumper shield allow investor to basically get a position that nobody give them any vesting, and I give them the free will to decide when they want to sell and how much they want to sell, right? And on the other side, it's protecting the public because none of those investors that bought the token on some discount, doesn't matter if it's a pre-sale, public sale, PDO, anytime you buy a token on a discount, you become to be under the dumper shield. So it's not hurting the public, and I will explain why. What is the dumper shield basically? Dumper shield is an escrow. So what that means is that every person will have his own escrow contract, okay? And what that means is that this escrow contract will have a private key. And the private key is your wallet, right? Your wallet is the private key. By the way, if you're losing your wallet or access to your wallet, I cannot recover your money or your token into your escrow because I never had an access to that, right? Only your wallet is the private key. So that needs to be clear. Once you have your token into the escrow, and the moment that you finish the pre-sale or the PDO or the staking on the public sale, it's moving from there to the dumper shield, right? So once it moves to the dumper shield, it's moving to your escrow, and you can use your wallet as a private key and decide what to do with those tokens in the escrow, right? Like a vault. You have basically 3 possibilities, but one of the possibility will not be relevant until next year. Possibility that is not relevant until next year, it will be to use those tokens to buy into Adam Foundation stock and then take the stock and maybe sell it on the NASDAQ. Once we'll comply with Reg A plus and we'll do IPO in the NASDAQ, you will have another door access to liquidity. But again, until we don't finish that process, because it takes time, this option is not on the table until next year. Option number 2 that you have is an OTC, right? So it's an inside OTC technology that basically you can sell your token to any person that is on the dumper shield, or you can even add a person to the dumper shield. Any person that you like, you can open for him by one click. You can add him to the dumper shield. He will have his own escrow. His wallet will control his own escrow, and you can sell to him your token, all of them, some of them. You can sell it for full price, double price, half price, even for free. Nobody care. Why nobody care? Because it's between you and that person, and it's not affecting secondary market. And therefore, you have the freedom to do whatever you like, okay? And all the technology that you give the token and get BNB or get ETH is already built in. So all the OTC as an inside OTC is already exist, is which multiply contract. And everything will be taken care of. You just put his wallet address, decide how much you want to give him, how much you want to return, and everything will be taken care of, and it will move from your vault to his vault. Okay.
So
Now,
I think the question is who's able to see those orders? Let's say I don't have a counterparty and I want to sell for a discount over OTC. Am I able to basically place an OTC order at below market?
yes, you can sell your token. Let's say the market is $1, and somebody is eager to buy from you for more than $1 or less than $1. Whatever
but I don't
you
know
and
that
him.
person. So in this scenario, let's say I don't know that person.
Now I got you. Okay, so there is kind of the OTC have two possibilities to use. Number one is that you know the person, and you just you and him or her during that swap. You decide how much to give to the person and how much to get back. You put it right in the front in the UI, and that's it. Option, and another option is that there is inside marketplace that you see someone interesting to buy token. You don't know him, you don't know, he doesn't know you, and you don't need to know each other. You just take his wallet, right, and send him X amount of token, and you don't need to, it's not this OTC been built with the smart contract, the SmartSwap contract behind it. So you can send, let's say I want to sell you 1 million token and I want $1 million. I can send you $1 million. I don't need for you at the same time to send me money, right? It's not like old-fashioned smart contract that I need simultaneously, which means we both need to talk with each other. No, I can send you $1 million of token, and I can say which token I want to receive, let's say BNB. I can say what's the face value I'm looking for, let's say $1 million, $1 per token. And I send you the order, and the order will hit your wallet, your account. And when you open your UI, as the other counterparty, you will see that someone send you 1 million token, and you can either take half of that, all of that, and you can reject you, but definitely you cannot take the order and give less than $1 million, because the SmartSwap will not let it happen. The SmartSwap say, I sent $1 million, I want $1 per token. So the SmartSwap will make sure that you will send no less than $1 per token, because otherwise, if you send $900,000, it will swap only 90% and it will return to me the other 10%, right? So in other words, I can basically sell as an OTC my token to anybody that I know, or I can sell it to anonymous people that just I find out in the OTC marketplace that they're looking to buy, and I just fulfill the order without asking. I just send it to them and they will execute or not execute. If they execute partial, that's fine. I will get my money back plus the leftover of the tokens. So it's very, very easy peasy, but it's very sophisticated OTC, right? For me as a user, it will be kind of very easy to operate, but behind the scene, there is the SmartSwap in the OTC. Make sure that I will not send accidentally to someone $1 million order, and it will send me $0.50 price per token and disappear, right? That cannot happen, right? If I ask $1, it's impossible for someone to deploy money less than that, right? And
well,
just
so those are actually all of our questions here. So let's see if the community, do you guys have any more questions?
At the gateway. So this is just the OTC, right? So we said we have 3 ways. The NASDAQ next year that is not relevant now, the OTC that is relevant because we build it. It's either person that you know or person that you don't know. And the third one is the gateway. So what is the gateway? Because that's the most important part. The gateway is basically, if I want to sell my token and you want to sell the token, and Joe Schmo want to sell the token, each one of us can send order to the gateway and say, I want to sell 1 million token, you want to sell 1 million token, somebody else want to sell 10 tokens, right? So the gateway will not take 2 million and 10 and float, right, the market with 2 million and 10. What the gateway will do, it will basically check how much the market can take. So the gateway have a built-in smart contract that basically put order, and if the order been taken by X a time, right, next time we'll put double order. If it's been not taken by time, next time we'll put less order. So basically the gateway increasing or decreasing how much it deploy into the market based on how much the market can take. If the market is really have big appetite, it will start, pushing more and more and more. If the market doesn't have appetite, it will not float the market with with supply. So it's really like machine learning, right? It's trying to figure out what's going on and what people need, and that's how it's offering that. Now, another thing is that the gateway utilizes the SmartSwap. So what that means? That means that when the gateway offering to sell 2 million of tokens, it basically do not say how much. You remember in the OTC that you can choose your price, $1, $0.50, $2. With the gateway, you cannot choose your price. The gateway utilizes the SmartSwap, which means whatever the average price for the smart in the market is, let's say $1, that's the price. You cannot ask $1.01 or 99 cents. It have to use the average market price. Now, where is that average market price coming from? The answer is from CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, right? We're taking the prices, the SmartSwap taking the prices from those places, right? So what that means, that it's average price? That means that if you have an average price, that somewhere somebody is selling the token above the average, and some other where someone is selling the token below the average. That's the point of average, that you have above and below, right? So what that means? What I just told you is the key for the entire DeFi industry. All the industry been built in a way that you have basically differentiation of prices and arbitrage player fixing those prices, right? Between centralized exchange, decentralized exchange. So that's the nature of the DeFi. So if the SmartSwap, right, the gateway will place, let's say, a sell for $1, and let's say the PDO, Uniswap, PancakeSwap, centralized exchange is $1.10 or $1.20, the SmartSwap doesn't know that the price is $1.20 or $1.10. It doesn't know. First, centralized exchange will follow DEXs, but first other DEXs will do equilibrium with other DEXs, and then centralized exchange will do equilibrium with DEXs, and then CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, after a very long few seconds, if not even a minute or two, then they will fix the average price. So what I'm trying to say is that the SmartSwap will know about what's the real price is by huge delay, sometimes even a minute, right? And what that means is that if you have a SmartSwap, a gateway that's selling a token for $1, but there is PDO or Uniswap or PancakeSwap, etc., that trading that token for $1.10 or $1.20, there will be tons of arbitrage because that's what they do for life, right? For living. They will buy from the SmartSwap, from the gateway for $1, and they will sell it to the PDO, or they will sell it for the Uniswap for $1.20 or $1.10, and they will make nice arbitrage. Today, as we speak, they're doing it every second. Most of the DeFi, if you will open the Binance Smart Chain scan or Ethereum scan, you will see that most of the transaction in the industry, it's bought. Buy here, sell there, buy there, sell here. I mean, everything is being equilibrium by bot, right? So it doesn't make sense that you have money on the table for $1 and people trade it for $1.20 and somebody is not going to pick up that spread. But think about it. If I will give you or anybody else the permission to go directly to Uniswap with your token, or directly to centralized exchange, or directly to the PDO, you will dump your token for half price, for $0.50. Why? Because you don't care. You bought it for 0.0005. You're still in the profit. You make fantastic profit. You bought it less than half a cent, right? So you don't mind to sell it for 50 cents. It's huge profits, 100x, right? So the point is that, well, if it will be $2, it's 400x, right? So the point is that I think that what will happen when people engage with the token directly, they don't plan to sell for discount, but the moment that there is other competition, they start to sell. Okay, I don't want $2, I will take $1.90, and then somebody else say, oh shit, I will take that $1.80, and then it's become to be a race who offer less in order to dump more, and that's what damaging the price. So if you think about this concept of dumper shield, is that I give you the permission to sell as much as you like, but you need to sell it on average market, and then liquidity provider, which is both, right, will buy from you, not liquidity provider, arbitrage provider, they will buy from you, and they will sell it to the PDO and Uniswap, and they will make nice spread. So in other words, they will facilitate the liquidity for you, right? So you don't need to go and dump below the market. And even if you add token to the market, you may slow down the appreciation of the token, but you will not go backward, like we see again and again, like Algo, for example. Algo, after 2-3 years, not even recovered to the public price that you used to have, right? They didn't even recover yet. So a lot of projects that's launching, and they go very high, the public pay the price, and it's take a long time to recover, right? So that's why the damper shield is very interesting, because if it works, like I think it should work, and there is no reason why it shouldn't, because we didn't invent the wheel. We use, methods that exist in the DeFi as a foundation of the DeFi. And if it's working like I think it's working, most likely you will not going to see future projects launching in the old-fashioned way. Most likely you will see a lot of projects start to utilize the damper shield, because it makes sense. It gives the freedom to the investor on one side, and it's not hurting the public or the project on the other side. It's fair, right? So that's what is important.
So then, okay, is it first come, first serve behind the damper shield? So if you're using that gateway, is it the first investors who put their tokens in, or the first ones that orders get fulfilled, or is it like Jointer where it's kind of pro rata?
Yeah, it's pro rata, but it's not pro rata. Hey, I sold million token, you sold 10, I will get more. It's pro rata. I sold 1 million out of 1 million, which means 100% of my supply, and you sold 10 out of 100, which means 10% of your supply. So there's a combination of how much I sold, but versus how much from how many I had, right? So it's fair, because if I will sell 1 million and you sell only 100 because that's all you have, it's preferred the big whale, right? And it's not fair for the small investor. So it's pro rata in the way that everybody kind of have opportunity, and it's even balanced between whale to small investors. So it's a fair pro rata that everybody, most likely whale and investor will be fulfilled together, and then the whale will continue to wait while the small investor already out, right? So it's not give first to the whale. So yeah, it's a fair pro rata.
Okay, that's good.
You can see, understanding now that the damper shield is not one contract. There is many contracts that make it fair, and it's really many contracts, right? So the damper shield is a big project with many contracts, but what is the other option that we have? To launch something and crash the market and take the project underwater until next summer? I mean, that's what happened to everybody else.
Yeah, and I think that people do want to start using it too, and want the fee reimbursement. So it'll be exciting to see all this stuff live. So do we have questions that are going to roll in here from the community? Are you guys happy, or we need have any more questions? One is, about BEP 20 tokens. People are, because we have BNB live and ETH live, when are the BEP 20 and ERC 20 tokens going to be live?
So basically the tokens are ready. We have even auditing report in-house that's been made a few times, and now we're going to do also outsourcing company. There is only something that we talked today here on the call, is that, and I will check it by the way tonight, whether or not we want to add the whitelist or not in order to deal with bot. It's a decision that needs to be made. It's not a big deal because we have all the technology already ready with other tokens that we have. It's just a decision and then a small adjustment. If we don't add it, then we can go and mint. If we do want that, we'll need to integrate that build in. Bot are become to be a very big problem today. I think bot, in one side, I will explain what I mean. It's a lot of people need to understand something about the SmartSwap. So SmartSwap is not AML, right? Just a second. I'm changing back to my computer. All right.
Oh yeah, I gotta unmute him now. Just keep Yoda muted
All right.
and sit and watch me type to all these people.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, right. So what I start to say is that the SmartSwap is not AMM, right? It's not like any Uniswap, PancakeSwap. It's different technology, and the reason that it's different is because AMM, from my perspective, they're not really built in the right way. It's two pools that you have to contribute money to those pools as an LP in order to minimize slippage, right? That's the main idea of those AMM. And there is problem, two problem, actually. It's like a double sword problem. In one problem is that you cannot add liquidity forever. I mean, if it's scaling and everybody using it as a mass adoption, there is some place have to be a ceiling, right? It cannot grow and grow from billion to trillion forever. It doesn't make sense that people in the entire world will park money on Uniswap, right? There is a limit how much money you can park, which means there is a limit basically to how much you can keep the slippage minimum. And in some point when the demand will increase and the money that you deposit is not increase with that, the slippage will break and will be big, right? That being said, people duplicate Uniswap like a clone, right? Everybody that have an AMM, it's a clone of Uniswap. By doing it, by cloning Uniswap, you even make it weaker, because instead of have one big pool in the world with all the LP in it, now you have many pools with LP, so each one of them is weaker because each one of them have its own LP, right? Instead of one big LP, right? And that being said, now you have another issue. Bots become to be smart. So when you open a pool, you don't want to inject a lot of money immediately because you're afraid that those bots will, suck it out. So what happens is that you have a risk of slippage, right? So whoever coming in doesn't have enough LP money in it, so you have a huge slippage. So instead, you want to help your user by injecting money, then the bot's stealing the money, and then they're hurting everybody, including you and the user. So it's become to be absurd, right? So with the SmartSwap, it's impossible. Bot cannot really do dumping because there is no slippage. And our technology do not have a slippage because we have a lot of LP. We don't have an LP at all. Our technology doesn't have a slippage because by definition, the technology do not allow the slippage to take place. It's a different technology that do not have a possibility to any slippage. So bot cannot play in SmartSwap. It's impossible. And what that means is that if you have a token, you will immediately have all the liquidity in the world, like all the DeFi combined. The SmartSwap will have all the DeFi combined, more liquidity than entire DeFi combined from day one. Why? Because they have access to centralized exchanges. So if you have a token, even if it's a shitcoin, and it's trading on centralized exchange with, I don't know, combined $1 million daily trading, so basically the SmartSwap immediately will have access to that $1 million daily trading. So the point is that you don't need to be worried about bot, and you don't need to be worried about people copy and basically make it weaker, and that's very rarely added value. So the SmartSwap, even though it's been created in the early of 2017, we couldn't bring it to the market back then. It solved a problem that didn't yet been created. We've been busy in other stuff, and also we couldn't explain what is slippage because back then nobody knew what slippage is, right? So let's go and try to explain what is slippage free, right? It was very challenged to explain to the world the problem when there was no problem yet. Now there is problem. Now there's a problem. Everybody aware of the bot, of the slippage, of the scaling. So obviously the SmartSwap is right in the right moment, right? We bring into the market in the right moment. By the way, does everybody understand how the SmartSwap work, or should we explain it and demonstrate that?
Well, I think that this was mainly a call regarding yesterday. So we're going to put this back up. We're going to put this on YouTube with all these questions that were asked. And it'll join your AMMs where you kind of walk through everybody. And I know that there's more AMMs scheduled for next week as we get closer to the token launching. And we should even do a session, schedule another session with our own community before the launch too. So thanks everyone for joining. You could go to smartswap.exchange right now, and you can help us by testing the BNB to ETH swap. We don't have at this point the smart token integrated in, but all that's coming soon.
Oh,
but as Yoda said, we don't like dates, so don't.
Maybe we should explain another thing that it's not was clear to people. How the reimbursement works, right? Because I heard people ask me again and again how exactly it works.
And yeah, now the bus is gone too. So just to clarify to everybody, if you haven't read the new white paper, the bus strategy.
Yeah, I will explain that. So let's talk about the reimbursement. I mean, imagine first every person that invests in DeFi in the last year probably spend at least $1,000, not even 1 to 5 on gas and fees, right? When it comes to DeFi, I think heavy investor even spend even more, right? Now, imagine yourself that you come back today to Uniswap and they say to you, hey, let's check your wallet. Oh, I see that you spent $5,000. Let me reimburse you with Uni, right? It will be make a lot of smiles on many faces, right? But they don't have it. We do. Right. So what we plan to do is that when you play with the SmartSwap and you pay gas and fees, obviously the gas is not us. It's Ethereum and BNB and other network, correct? So it's not our money. But once you spend that, we will allow you to come at any time, today, tomorrow, next year, next month, 10 years from now, no rush, right? You can come and connect your wallet and check how much gas and fees you ever spend on the SmartSwap, right? And let's say the answer is, hey, you spend $5,000, right? So you will be able to stake, let's say $5,000 we want to reinvest with Smart, let's say Smart equal to $1, so you get 5,000 Smart, right? So in order to claim those 5,000 Smart, you need to deposit 5,000 Smarts, right, on the staking contract. And it needs to be staked for 1 year, 365 days. Obviously, you don't have to stake all of it. You can stake half of that, quarter of that, 1 token of that, whatever you want, right? And you don't have to stake for 1 year. You can stake for half a year. You can stake for 1 hour. Whatever you stake and how long as you stake, that's how much you will gain 1-to-1, right? If you stake the entire 5,000 for 1 year, you get completely reimbursed for the entire gas and fees. If you stake less for less time, you'll get accordingly, right? But guess what? Even if you stake less for less time, the remaining is not lost. You can come anytime, next year, next month, next 10 years, and claim the rest. Anytime that you like, the gas and the fees to reimburse with Smart will be there for you. And anytime that you want, you can go ahead and claim those, right? Now, we do going to use the BAS concept in order to reduce, but we realize that the BAS is not reached to 100%. It's reached to less. And since I really want people to get reimbursed 100%, right? I thought that the BAS is not a good solution. It's almost a good solution, but it's not really all the way to 100%. That's why doing it like that, it's benefit, because then you can get 100% gas and fees back. But that being said, it's also benefit the community, because that means that you need to hold tokens or buy more tokens in order to claim those tokens. So it's kind of increasing the demand for the Smart in the market, instead of people immediately get Smart and dump, right? Here it's basically helping the community and helping to grow the value of the Smart and reducing pressure, sell pressure from the market. Are you muted? You think? I cannot hear you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
All right, there we go. Well, yeah, and all of that's on top of the fees that are also used to buy Smart back from the market. So that's a very powerful combination. It creates a lot of just natural buy pressure for the Smart token. So I think that that's a very exciting gas strategy. So, hey, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, Yoda. I'll give everyone some 10 more seconds here to ask a question if you have it. You can just shoot it in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead. If you have any more questions, we can cover.
How about
maybe you can open microphone to someone if someone wants to talk and ask question.
So how are the extra funds be used? We covered that earlier. That was one of the first questions in the call. We're going to push them back to the PDO once we solve the bot issue. All right, that looks like everything. Oh yeah, my question. So any major bugs sent to the bugs email address yet, June?
I saw 3 bugs that people continue to claim, but then they send another email and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," all of them. The bugs that they saw, they didn't understood how they can type 1/8 1 BNB, and then they realized that there is no such kind of a language. Some said it's absurd because you say $100, which is how it's supposed to be, but in their mind, they used to say 1/8 1 BNB, right? So the SmartSwap do not allow you to type 1 BNB and 1/8. It's just talk regular language, $100, $5,000, $1. So you say how much dollar face value you want to swap, and you don't say what's the face value that you're looking to get or how many tokens you want to get. It have to be exactly the same face value in the market, right? So it was a little bit new for people, even though it's weird because it's not supposed to be new, because that's how people usually talk. When you go to Amazon to buy TV, you don't say 0.5 ETH, right? You talk $100, right?
Okay.
So, but people thought for a second there is a bug. I cannot type 0.5 ETH, right? Yeah, but no major.
All right, well, that's good. That's a good sign. If that's the only issue, we just increase a little bit of the font size and we're good to go. So that's good. Well, thanks everybody again for your time. We're going to close this on out, and we'll put this on YouTube and we can share it to everyone here. And poor Glenn just joined, and Glenn, we're signing off, buddy. All right. Thanks everyone.
All right, take care.